So, what makes a tea worth more than gold? I mean, have you ever really thought about what makes something truly priceless? Not just, expensive, but legendary. Well, today, we're diving into a tea that's so valuable, it's literally worth more than its weight in gold. And I am not exaggerating one bit. Check out this number, 208,000 RMB. That was the actual auction price for just 20 grams of tea. To put that in perspective, that's over 30,000 US dollars. So what on earth is this liquid treasure?
This is Hong Pao, and we're about to unravel the story of this priceless red robe. Its name literally translates to Big Red Robe. And trust me, it's a wild story of myth, mountains, and some seriously masterful craftsmanship. Let's dive in and find out why this stuff is considered the undisputed king of teas.
All right, first up, a priceless red robe. I mean, where does a name like Big Red Robe even come from? Well, it all kicks off with a story that sounds like it's been pulled straight out of a legend.
So the story goes, we're back in the Ming Dynasty, around 1385. There's the scholar on his way to the big imperial exams, and he falls deathly ill. A monk from a local temple finds him and gives him some tea, but this isn't just any tea. It's brewed from leaves grown right on the cliffs of the Wuyi Mountains. And you guessed it, the tea works a miracle. The scholar not only recovers, he goes on to absolutely ace his exams. So to show his thanks, he comes back to that same spot and drapes his official red robe, which is a huge symbol of his new high rank, right over the tea bushes that saved his life. And just like that, the tea got its name, Hong Pao, the Big Red Robe.
Now, with a backstory like that, you can bet this tea became a huge deal. It was a tribute tea reserved only for the emperor, but its fame went global. Fast forward to 1972. President Nixon makes his historic visit to China. And what does Chairman Mao give him as a gift? 200 grams of Hong Pao. Apparently, Nixon was a little underwhelmed by the small amount, until he was told that it represented half the entire annual harvest from those original ancient mother trees. He was basically given half a national treasure in a little box.
Okay, but the legend is just one piece of the puzzle. The real magic of Hong Pao comes from where it grows. It's all about that idea of terroir, or as the tea masters poetically call it, the soul of the rock.
And we're not talking about just any old mountain range. The Wuyi Mountains are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I mean, picture this: dramatic red cliffs, deep gorges, and this constant swirling mist everywhere. The tea bushes literally grow in tiny crevices on these cliffs. Their roots have to dig deep into this soil that's basically just weathered rock, super rich in minerals. This crazy unique environment is the only place the real deal Hong Pao can come from.
So what do you get from a place like that? You get something called yan yin. It translates to rock rime. And honestly, that's the perfect name for it. Because this isn't just a flavor, it's more like a feeling. It's this complex, lingering mineral sensation that you can feel in your mouth, almost like you're tasting the cliffs themselves. For Wuyi teas, this rock rime is the absolute benchmark for quality. It's what everyone is looking for.
And the tea masters even break rock rime down into 4 parts. First, there's huo, which means it feels alive, like a little tingle on your tongue. Then you have gan, which is this amazing returning sweetness that kind of builds in your throat after you swallow. King means it's pure and clean, no murkiness at all. And finally, shang is this incredible fragrance that seems locked into the tea liquid, not just floating on top. It's a seriously complex experience.
Right, so nature provides the perfect raw ingredients, but that's only half the battle. To turn those leaves into Hong Pao, well, that takes an incredible amount of human skill and artistry. This tea is, quite literally, forged by fire.
And this is not a simple process by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, making Hong Pao is one of the most complex processes in the entire world of tea. It takes up to 360 hours of work. And there's no fixed formula. It all comes down to the tea master's intuition and years of experience. It's so important, it's actually been recognized as a national, intangible cultural heritage in China. That's a big deal.
So let's walk through it. The journey from leaf to cup has a bunch of crucial steps. After the leaves wither, they get shaken, a lot. This bruises the edges and kicks off oxidation. Then, bam, a blast of high heat, that's called fixation, stops the process cold and locks in all that amazing aroma. After they're rolled into those tight little strips, the tea goes through the most important step of all, roasting. We're talking multiple, slow roasts over charcoal fires, sometimes months apart. That's where those deep, complex, roasted notes that the tea is so famous for really come to life.
Okay, so if you go looking to buy some Hong Pao,
You're going to get confused pretty fast, and that's because not all big red robes are created equal. Not even close. Let's break it down.
You can basically think of it in 3 tiers. At the absolute pinnacle, you have the mother trees. These are the original 6 bushes from the legend. Since 2006, nobody is allowed to harvest from them. They are, and I mean this literally, priceless. The next level down is purebred tea. This stuff is grown from cuttings taken from those mother trees, so it's genetically identical, super rare, and yep, super expensive. And then finally, you've got commodity to Hong Pao. This is the version that you and I will most likely ever get to try. But hey, don't let the word commodity fool you. It doesn't mean low quality. Not at all. These are actually really sophisticated blends. A tea master will skillfully combine a bunch of different Wuyi rock teas to create it. The whole point is to capture the spirit and that balanced flavor of the original Big Red Robe, but in a way that's more accessible. It is absolutely an art form in its own right.
So, after all that history and all that work, what does this legendary tea actually taste like? And how can you experience it for yourself? Let's get into it.
Okay, if you've never had it before, here's a good way to think about it. Da Hong Pao is kind of like the tea world's version of a fine red wine or a really good dark roast coffee. It's full-bodied, it's got that unmistakable mineral rock note we talked about, that's the yanyun. You'll get these wonderful roasted aromas, think cocoa, nuts, caramel, but underneath all that, there are these delicate hints of orchid and dried fruit. And the finish? It's this long, lingering sweetness, almost like a piece of dark chocolate melting in the back of your throat. It's fantastic.
But, and this is a big but, you can't just throw this tea in a giant mug and let it sit there. If you do that, it's going to turn bitter, and you will miss all the amazing complexity. Nope. The only way to really unlock its flavor is with the traditional gong fu method. The whole idea is to use small, super quick infusions to reveal the tea's layers one by one.
Here's a super quick guide on how to do it. You're going to use a lot of tea for a little bit of water, and you want that water hot, just off the boil. First step is what's called awakening the leaves. Just a quick rinse with hot water that you immediately dump out. Then, your first real infusion should be incredibly fast. I'm talking like 5 to 8 seconds. That's it. And the cool part is, you can re-steep those same leaves 6, 7, maybe even 8 times, just adding a few more seconds each time. Every single cup will taste a little different and show you something new.
You know, in the end, there's this classic phrase that tea lovers use to describe Da Hong Pao, a taste of rock bone and floral fragrance. And that just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that incredible duality of this tea, the strong, mineral foundation of the mountains and the delicate, aromatic spirit that's unlocked by fire and skill. It really is like tasting history. Which brings us back to our first question. Can a tea ever truly be priceless? After hearing its story, I think it just might be.